Asterisk, let me tell you about a man whose life looked completely broken. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, his name was Joseph. Asterisk, Joseph was deeply loved by his father. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, but the favor on his life made others jealous. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, the people who should have protected him. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, betrayed him. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, the people who should have loved him. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, sold him. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, can you imagine the pain? Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, standing alone. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, wondering why God allowed it. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, maybe you've asked the same question. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, why did this happen to me? Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, why did God allow this pain? Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, why does my heart feel so heavy? Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, Joseph never stopped trusting God. Asterisk, even inside a prison cell. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, he remained faithful. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, he continued to believe. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, because real faith doesn't depend on perfect circumstances. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, real faith chooses God even in the darkest night. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, and then one ordinary day. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, everything changed. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, the prison door opened. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, Joseph was called before the king. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, and in just a single moment. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, God turned years of pain into purpose. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, the dream that seemed impossible. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, finally became reality. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, listen carefully. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, God can change your entire life. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, in one day. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, one phone call. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, one opportunity. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, one answered prayer. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, one miracle. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, can completely change everything. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, so if you're tired. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, don't quit. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, if you're discouraged. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, don't give up. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, if you've cried. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, keep believing. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, because heaven has not forgotten your name. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, the Bible reminds us. Opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, God is close To the broken-hearted, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, he sees every tear, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, he hears every whispered prayer, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, and he knows exactly what you need, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, maybe today, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, you can't see the whole picture, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, but God can, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, you only see today, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, God sees your tomorrow, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, you see the storm, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, God sees the sunrise, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, so keep walking, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, keep trusting, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, keep praying, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, because your story, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote. Asterisk, isn't over yet, opening parenthesis ellipsis closing parenthesis quote.